This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, June the 20th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up today, we are going to learn about the Beagle Brigade and actually get to meet one of the Beagles and talk about the work they're doing to help keep foreign animal diseases and other problems out of our country. We'll also take a look at that very boring, very quick cookie cutter forecast. But first, let's run down the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to turn to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what did we see in those grain markets today?
Well, we saw, again, it kind of sounds like a broken record, but it's all about weather. Obviously, we get move into the summer time frame, and that's what we have. But this year, probably more exceptionally because of the dryness that we've seen. And the dryness that came about quickly, which many had called a flash drought. But we keep on seeing a little bit, some of the weather models showing rain in the 6 to 10 day, and then it kind of pulled some of that out. Today we were back and forth, and some of the models showed that there might be a stronger case of rain coming in the 6 to 10 day coming this weekend, first part of next week. However, a hot weather pattern prior to that. So we could kind of see that as we move through the day, kind of an ebb and flow of that market from positive to positive, negative, basically on the grain markets, mainly the soybeans and corn. Wheat basically stayed lower all day long, but we're seeing that positive back and forth. You can't really get a good positive direction off of that market. And as long as we're seeing this type of a weather pattern and weather market and the predictions, or at least primary till July 4th. July 4th seems to always be a turning point. Now, one thing that's good about now with the drier weather is that a lot of the plants are setting a deeper root system, which could be more beneficial as time goes on, but we need to have general coverage of that moisture in areas of the Midwest soon. Now, we had export inspections this morning. Corn was at 34.5 million bushels. That was actually down 11.5 million bushels from last week. So not a good scenario there as far as any positive news coming out of that. Soybeans, 6.8 million bushels, up 1.4 million bushels from last week. And wheat, 8.7 million bushels inspections this week. That was down 400,000 bushels from a week ago. Now, the crop conditions this afternoon are expected to decrease. Now, the general consensus is we might be around 58% good to excellent on corn. That would be down 3% from last week. Soybeans at 57% good to excellent, down 2% from last week. And spring wheat at 58%. Good to excellent, down 2% from last week. Winter wheat conditions about the same, 38%. 19% of the winter wheat is expected to be harvested as of Sunday. That would be an 11% jump from the previous week. Good weather for harvesting that. In many cases, some places, have been delayed from rain and things like that. They're getting a little more rain down in that area. But the conditions declining like they are increasing some concern in that market. And if we get another week like this without anything, or let's say 2 weeks, I'll stretch it out to 2 weeks, we're really probably going to fall quite a bit. And that's really going to start a lot of fireworks, if you want to say, in the marketplace. Now, China soybean imports in the month of May totaled 402 million bushels from Brazil. Now, imports from the U.S., though, the problem is they were way down, only 33.9 million bushels. So you look at the difference between those two, and that's understandable because Brazil has a lot of beans pushing out to the market. But there seems to be that tendency of China to focus more of their purchases from Brazil rather than the U.S. at this point in time. Price is one reason, but also some of the tensions in the trade situation are another between the two countries. Russia wheat exports in June are expected to be tripled what they were a year ago. They're going to move a lot of stuff out into the marketplace. That's going to keep some pressure on wheat because we're going to have to compete with some of that, as well as Ukraine is starting to harvest their winter barley crop right now. So that's going to put a little bit more of the grain type onto the marketplace as well. So that's why we're maybe not going to see quite the movement in wheat as we may see in corn. Back and forth. Wheat is just kind of under a little more pressure at this point in time.
So we had seen that rally, upticking the end of the week last week, but ironically, livestock was going up at the same time. And what did we see today? And what's been kind of the trend for those, despite the fact that grains have been shooting higher?
Well, the livestock there's a little more concern developing in the livestock that maybe this correction is not just technical, not seeing the retracement from an overbought market, that maybe there's a little more a leg under this market. Or what do I mean by leg is that it's more than just a correction in the futures market, but it may be that the market has reached a peak. We might see consumer demand slowing a little bit. We've seen some mixed prices in the box beef. Now at noon today, choice was down $1.31, select down $1.83. Last week, we did see a backing off of the cash price. After a $20 gain the previous 2 weeks in cash, we saw prices anywhere last week from $3 to $5 lower. So we may be seeing a little bit of a tipping over here. The market might be, I'll use the term tired. I know that supplies are still tight yet, but it gets to the point where the market's going to try to limit demand and try to balance that market. And we're seeing possibly that taking place now, where we're moving closer to the July 4th, to the dog days of summer, when some of the grilling slows a little bit as far as the meat is concerned. So we might be moving into that area right now that would bring that market back a little bit farther, maybe into an area where it should be. It might have been overblown to the top side. Now, on the hog side of the market, July has been incredible. July gapped open again this morning. It's 3 chart gaps under that month, and generally chart gaps are filled. Now, it might be a tough situation when we look at the market to say they're all going to be filled within the next month or a little less than a month, but nevertheless, they are there. So technicians might look at that a little bit more, but cash has been strong. On Monday, cash was up $9.66. So packers came in really aggressive. Today at the noon report, it's up another it's up another $4.92. So the packers are really starting out the weeks fairly aggressive. They're tailing off in the end of the weeks, but they're starting out aggressive. Complete change from where we were about a month ago, where they were not very aggressive at all. Cutouts were down, though, at the midday report. They're down $1.35. And that's ebb and flows back and forth. Last week, we were fairly strong in our cutout values. So seeing a little bit of a decline here may not be that bad. But hogs have really, really shown their strength, and especially moving into the uncertainty of July 1st, when Prop 12 should be taking effect. But I still think they may minimize that a little bit, maybe extend that a little bit from taking full effect on July 1st.
All right, Robin. Well, if folks want to talk about some of their options and their marketing plans, what's the best way for them to get in touch with agmarket.net?
They can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to our website, agmarket.net. The phone number's on there, and they'll be able to reach anybody that's available.
All right, Robin. Well, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good week, and it's always a pleasure.
That was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn up 3.5 at 643 3/4. December new crop unchanged at 597 1/2. July beans up 10 3/4 at 1477 1/4. August up 3/4 at 1408 1/4. November new crop up 1/2 at 1342 3/4. Soy meal down $3.30 at 410.10 per ton. Soy oil down 3 cents at 58.73. Chicago wheat up 7 1/4 at 708 3/4. Minneapolis down 4.5 at 852 even. Kansas wheat down 4.5 at 834 1/2. September oats down 4 at 401 1/4. August live cattle down $2.02 at 169.70. August feeders down $2.77 at 232.15. Lean hogs up $3 at 95.85. Pork cutouts up $3.55 at $100.12. And Class 3 milk up a penny at $14.95. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, we talk with the USDA Beagle Brigade. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, they are the unsung heroes of U.S. agriculture, and that is the Beagles and the other dogs that make up the frontline defenders against foreign animal disease and any other illegal items that could be crossing our border. They're in the airports, the seaports, and in the rail yards across the country, making sure nothing that gets in is supposed to not be in here. We had a chance to meet Oscar. He is one of the Beagles of the Beagle Brigade during the World Pork Expo, and we talked with Officer Joe Sheely of the U.S. Border Patrol to find out what goes into making the Beagle Brigade so special.
Right, so my name is Joe Sheely. I'm the California Agriculture Liaison for Customs and Border Protection, and got invited out here for our work we do with National Pork Board and National Pork Producers Council. It's a great relationship inside of CBP, that's Customs and Border Protection, for those we clarify the acronym, and the work we do with them cooperatively on educating our traveling public.
All right, so we're here talking, of course, the main star of the show is your Beagle you brought with us today, and so tell us a little bit about, first of all, for those who maybe aren't familiar, the Beagle Brigade, as we love to call them. Tell us what they do and what they do to protect them.
Okay, so our Beagle Brigade consists of 185 dogs. That's plus or minus because, of course, we have retirements and we have to work new dogs through the system. The dogs will start with USDA. Most of our dogs are rescues, and Beagles aren't the only dog we have. We also have large breed labs we work with. So what they do is USDA gets those dogs, and then they look at the temperament. This is at our training center down in Noonan, Georgia. Not our training, it's USDA's training center. My apologies, USDA. It's their training center. So they get these dogs, they look at the temperament. Can they work in the environment in which we're expecting them to work? A Beagle needs to be able to work around a lot of crowds of people, lots of feet moving, lots of noise. A large breed, if it works in cargo or like mail facilities with moving belts, pallets, getting up on top of them, getting into cars, getting into truck beds. We need to make sure these dogs are capable of doing that job, right? So first, USDA does that. And then they get down to the smells. Can the dog work as smells? They work in the environment. They have the temperament to be around people. Can they work the smell? So we have 5 basic smells that USDA tests on. And those are citrus, mango, apple, pork, and beef. So once that dog proves himself capable of doing that, then we know he's capable of being placed with a handler. So our handler in this case is CBP AS Canine Handler Hall. She is out of Chicago. She works at Chicago O'Hare. And her dog Oscar, that's like Oscar but with a Z, so Oscar. He works there with her at Chicago. They've been doing this for about a year. And he's still in the process of learning. So, and talking to Miss Hall earlier, CBPS Hall stated that Oscar's developed to about the point of 50 unique scents, but that's not the max that he'll learn. So he learns as he goes, right off those base scents that he learned. So he had the 5 sense, and when you go into an environment, each environment is unique. So he will go back to his environment in Chicago and learn things that travel past him, which may be very different from San Francisco.
What age do you look for to have a dog start training, and then how long do they go for?
USDA is looking for a dog about 1 at the start. Now, they do start with older dogs, too, because, like I said, most of these dogs are from shelters, so they're rescues. We can't dictate. Oscar was probably a little over 2. He's about ready to turn 4 in September, and he's been on the floor for a year. So he was, he was probably 2 when he got there. And it takes 2 to 6 months to figure out if the dog's going to work in the program and then find a handler. So in this case, yeah, he's a little older. And he'll be able to work still for us and produce. He's learning still, and he's a great find. These dogs are fantastic at what they do.
So what is it about the Beagle that stands out, or even the Labrador?
So when we look at the Beagle, their temperament's really good. High food drive. High food drive. We want to look at that. You see the Beagle, you see somebody like Oscar, who's just as cute as a button, sitting over there. I know you can't see him yet, but he's over in the sunshine enjoying himself for a minute. They're non-threatening, right? So you move amongst crowd, where if you get a bigger dog, some people may back off or be scared. And then you're getting people reaction based on the animal and not based on what's going on, possibly. So we really focus more, good dog, good around environments, not too threatening. You got a big dog, maybe knock down a kid or something, that would be bad. So even though it wouldn't be intentional, but the Beagles are always good. So yeah, in that environment, that's why we use the Beagles.
So what's a typical day for Oscar going to be?
Well, all our dogs are kenneled because they are working dogs. They are property of the U.S. government. They are not the property of the person who works the dog. The person is paired with them, and they are paired together for the life, for the working period of the dog. And Oscar will get up at his kennel in the morning. Before he comes to work, Miss Hall gets the vehicle. She has a specialized canine truck. So in her case, I think it's a Chevy missing the back seat, and it's all flat. And we have a very nice kennel built into these trucks, with water and food dishes and little blankets and stuff. Our dogs are very comfortable no matter where they go. So she goes over to the kennel and she'll let him out and have a chance to run around and kind of get any angst out and kind of burn some energy before it's time to work. Although these dogs really are, because of that food drive, that energy is kind of always there, but you want a little off the top. And it really depends on the dog. Oscar's a little more laid back. High energy dog, you really got to run them. So that's, put him out in a grassy field and they have a good time. So he then will come to the airport and they'll get ready and they'll come in. They'll decide where they're working on the day. You want to find that flight that's good for the dog, where they're going to have good targets, because you don't want to flight with no targets, because you're always reinforcing the behavior of the dog, right? Handing the dog a treat when the dog finds something. Well, if there's nothing to find or low volume find, then you're not rewarding the dog and giving that food encouragement. But at the same point in time, these dogs although you may decide to work one flight and the dog decide to go to another because he smells for that treat, right? So in this case, you go where the dog leads you. As she was saying in an earlier presentation, you trust your dog. You may not see it, but it's there because the dog says it's there. So, and there are times that it's not, like if you had a banana maybe in your suitcase that got smashed, that strong odor, it just came out of the bag. It's going to linger a little bit. Dog still hits, but generally they're right. So.
Okay. And so last question I really got to ask is, in an airport environment when they're trained to smell for food and there's food all around, how do you get them to target where they're supposed to?
If you watch our canines, they know where the reward is, and the reward is the bags, right? They're not carrying, even here at World Pork Expo, right? That smell's there. His nose is working, and he'll follow people with his eyes when they're walking by with a plate of food, maybe. but he's not working. So he knows it's the suitcase, it's the handbag. That's where he wants to be working. He wants to be in his work environment, moving on the floor, doing that sort of thing while he's out there. He's going to get the reward for what's in the bag. So like we just did a demo for some people here, and we put out the bags, and that's when he knows it's time to work. He sees the suitcases, he gets excited, tail starts going, and it's all good.
Thank you for taking the time to visit with us then about the Beagle Brigade and the work you're doing. Of course, farmers everywhere are very appreciative of the work you're doing to help keep African swine fever and other things out of this country.
Well, thank you. You know, it's the work of us on the agriculture line for CBP, from our canines to our agriculture specialists working the belt or working cargo or international mail. We're here to protect American farms and forests. It's really what we love. It's what we're educated for, and we know how important it is to protect our food supply. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Well, thank you, Officer Shealy. Appreciate it. And that again was Officer Joe Shealy and Oscar of the Beagle Brigade with the U.S. Border Patrol. Let's go ahead and take a look at that snooze fest of an ag weather outlook. Well, it is sunny and warm again, and if you missed it yesterday, it was sunny and warm then, and if you miss it today, it's going to be sunny and warm tomorrow. Let's go ahead and just for the sake of it, let's get it out of the way and see what the National Weather Service says for our high temperatures, at least, for the next 24 hours. Well, I guess if you're a meteorologist, having a forecast like we're going to see this week is nice because you get an easy week and you don't have to do a whole lot of thinking ahead on it, but if you're not a meteorologist and don't make your living making forecasts, this is about as boring as it gets. It's going to be hot and dry across Iowa today and tomorrow and probably for the foreseeable next few days. As we take a look at the forecast for you for today, again, we saw those sunny skies, warm conditions, and highs were anywhere from the upper 80s to the low 90s. Now tonight it's going to be mostly clear skies, and we're going to see those lows dip down into the upper 50s to the mid 60s. And then tomorrow, sunny skies, so basically a carbon copy of today, and we're going to see highs anywhere again from the upper 80s to the low 90s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map, again, pretty boring across the state. Cherokee and Albia both looking to be sunny skies and 89. Shenandoah and Des Moines both looking to be sunny and 90. Waterloo and Clinton look to be the warm spots as they'll be sunny and 91 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliates. And that's been the Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Amazon. Amazon! Frickety frick frick. 3, 2, 1. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been the Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified each day when we put up our Ag Matters PM program. You can also check out the Brazil series we've been doing here over the past few weeks, and also check back on our previous episodes of AMPM. We also have free twice daily market podcasts on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the iAron Studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.